I've talked about how Atom Smasher was not the only 96% cyborg in Cyberpunk. That's just a full body conversion, a full Borg. But was Atom Smasher the best full body cyborg? To find an answer to this question, I went through every Cyberpunk rulebook that I have in order to find every single full Borg NPC that there is. Now, I might have missed some. If I have, please let me know. I would love to add them to my spreadsheet. But before I do a direct comparison of everybody, I feel the need to talk about who each of these people are. And in order to do that, I need to add a little bit of context as to the Fourth Corporate War, because a lot of these people were involved in that in some capacity. In brief, the Fourth Corporate War were two aquatic-based corporations trying to take over a third that was going bankrupt, and they hired Arasaka and Militech, respectively, to run security and to advise them because there were some shenanigans going on. And then that evolved into a shadow war, and then that evolved into Arasaka and Militech just going out against each other because they didn't like what they had done during that shadow war and making it an all-out war. So Arasaka and Militech were hired to fight each other and then started actually fighting each other. Starting out with Kagekaze, not all of them have pictures, but whatever. He was the leader of a ninja clan in the employ of Arasaka, and one of his kids disgraced themselves, and Saburo Arasaka needed him to commit seppuku, take his own life. But even that was not good enough, so Arasaka put his brain in an Eclipse cyborg, a stealth-focused cyborg, and had him continue working for him. Kagekaze believes that the ninja he once was is completely dead, and he just has like another reincarnated chance to serve his masters at Arasaka. He's like a really Zen Buddhist type and kind of does the traditional philosophical martial arts teacher thing that you see in movies whenever he's an instructor. But he's also obviously an incredibly competent ninja with stealth camouflage systems, so pretty powerful. He was obviously employed by Arasaka, and it was during the time of the shadow and active parts of the Fourth Corporate War. Now, he was a part of their team that kind of oversaw and enacted everything, like the lead team. Moving over to Militech's lead team, they have the Faceless Man. He was originally just a dude who got plastic surgery to change his face all the time, but eventually something happened where he disappeared for a while and then came back as a Gemini cyborg, pretty much a Terminator except more humanoid than Arnold, made to look as human as possible. And the Faceless Man also has a disguise system so he can look like anybody of the same general build as him. And then we have Junkers, who way back in the aquatic time of the Fourth Corporate War, he was involved there. He's an Aquarius cyborg, used to be a diver, and then got paralyzed from the neck down in a diving accident, and now is an aquatic full Borg. They can go underwater for 16 hours, swim like 30 miles per hour. Pretty useful underwater. An interesting note about him is in order to stave off cyberpsychosis, he converted to Catholicism and got pretty heavily involved in the church and was even a contributing factor to them recognizing cyborgs as actual people, as actually having souls. Shaitan is another Eclipse cyborg, a stealth-based cyborg, and his thing is, for some reason that's kind of unknown, he really does not like Arasaka. He has a vendetta against them, takes jobs just against them, and then spends a lot of time on those jobs just destroying their stuff, so that way it's even more expensive for them to replace that stuff. He absolutely hates Arasaka and only got involved during the tail end, during the whole storming the towers scene, the whole Johnny Silverhand thing, and that's because Silverhand called him up and was like, hey, we're gonna mess up Arasaka, and Shaitan was like, cool, I'll be there. But otherwise, he is ridiculously competent. He is the was the number 7 ranked solo in the United States, number 1 being Morgan Blackhand himself. No other full Borg is on that list, including Atom Smasher. He didn't even make the top 10. And talking about Atom Smasher, he was originally a punk from New York City who joined the military, got kicked out of the military, became a mercenary on the streets, got wiped out as a mercenary on the streets, and then some shadow group hooked up his chunky salsa-ified body to like a brain dance thing and asked him, do you want a full body conversion in order to actually keep living in return for working for us? And Atom Smasher was like, yeah, I want to do that, but I need to be able to destroy whatever is around for those jobs. And they were like, yeah, sure. Turns out that shadow group was Arasaka. And he also didn't play a significant part in the Fourth Corporate War up until the very end with that whole Johnny Silverhand thing. And then we have Omega, who was not involved in the Fourth Corporate War. Instead, you know how some gangs follow themes? There's like the bodybuilder ones or the ones who really like drastic body conversions. Also gangs who all dress up like people from Star Trek, and some take it really far and like make themselves look like the characters with plastic surgery. Omega was a member of like an anime gang, like a mecha anime, Gundam, stuff like that. And he had rich parents, so he got money from them and made a full body conversion to look like a robot, which he kind of just was. And he was also a netrunner, a hacker, and really have the combat skills of everybody else. So was Atom Smasher the best full cyborg? Using all of their statistics as a comparison, he was the top, tied for the top in speed and reflexes, tied with Shaitan, is the absolute physically strongest with the highest body score, but other than that, he's pretty mediocre compared to the rest. Almost all the others are smarter, more tech-savvy, cooler, luckier, have higher skills in various things. If it wasn't for Omega, who honestly doesn't really count as a combatant, then Atom Smasher would be last place in a lot of these categories. And I think that that's actually pretty perfect for his personality. He relies a lot on his machinery as opposed to actual skills. So against a meat human, he could be definitely better. However, against another person who uses machinery and has good skills, he kind of pales in comparison. I mean, his athletic score is lower than most of the others, so while he can outlift a lot of them, a lot of the others could perform climbing and other, like, Olympic sports feats better than he could, because he's just really strong, and they're more skilled. Too observant in comparison, and nowhere near the best with rifles, pistols, or even heavy weapons, or melee. So he really shows that you can't just rely on machines.